Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to day two of the Ditch Alcohol and Discover Your Purpose workshop. I'm so excited to be back here. We, on day one, really started to focus on what incredible gifts you get when you go alcohol free, right? How much it builds your sense of gratitude, how much your sleep improves, how much your sense of presence increases, how much pride and confidence you can start feeling about yourself when you show up and do the things that you said you would do. And the Ditch Alcohol and Discover Your Purpose is all about really truly reflecting about what this challenge and or transformation is offering you, right? Why are you going through this? Why have you come to a point in your life where you are reevaluating the role of alcohol? It's happening for a bigger reason. It's happening for a bigger purpose. And if you can lean into that and believe that, so many beautiful blessings are unfolding for you, and you don't even have any idea of how you can change the world because of that. So if we haven't met yet before, my name is Karolina Jadkowolska. I'm the author of this book, Euphoric, Ditch Alcohol and Gain a Happier, More Confident You. And I've been living alcohol free for over 5 years now, when I made my transformation back in 2018. Now, I have to say that I went from literally working in a cubicle, a 9 to 5, feeling bored all the time, feeling stressed all the time, not being able to wait for the weekend to come. TGIF was like my mantra every single week, into really building a life that I love every single day, really going for my dreams instead of wishing and hoping my life was different. I started taking action and creating the kind of lifestyle I really, really wanted. And now this is what today is all about, is determining what is this ideal lifestyle for you? If you could do anything, what would you actually want to do? What does that look like, right? And before we start asking those questions, I just want to say that, you are here because you have a greater gift to share. You are here because you have a greater gift to share with the world. And we are all so unique that every one of our gifts might look different from the other person. And so I want to just first ask you, what do you believe is the potential of a human being? So take yourself out of the picture for a moment and just imagine a human being. What is the potential or the capability of a human being? Now, sometimes we can look back into history and see the potential of a human being, right? Like, we have human beings like Albert Einstein, who literally were such geniuses at physics and astrology and astronomy and math that they were able to completely disrupt our theories of physics, right? Then we have people like Madame Curie, who invented new subatomic particles and really carried the science of radiation. We have people like Leonardo da Vinci, who even like 600 years ago was starting to develop theories of how we could fly, right? We have all these incredible humans that have lived before us that have shown that the capability, the potential of a human being is actually quite large, right? We are very smart. We are very caring. There's so much that we could do. Now, when we turn it back onto us, it often feels like, well, I'm just not that special. I don't know what I have. I'm just a normal person. I'm just trying to get by. I'm not Einstein, right? And I just want to argue for a second that if someone else has the capability of unleashing incredible gifts into the world, if someone else has genius and excellence and so much going for them, then why not you? Are you made of different material than them? Do you have a different brain than they do? Do you have a different heart than they do? Different lungs, different, blood and bones, right? No, we're all the same. The potential of a human being is so, so high, and you are part of that group. You have a special gift that no one has seen before. And this is how I know that. So, in the history of time, no one like you has ever existed before. Nobody like you has ever existed before on this planet, nor will they ever exist ever again. No one has your personality, your mix of personality with your skills, mixed with your talents, mixed with your interests, mixed with your passions, mixed with your past experiences. Nobody on this planet has the life and the mentality and the perspective that you do. Nobody has the gifts that you do. They've never been seen before. They're as rare as a diamond, if not rarer. And you hold a very special place on this planet to share your gifts. We're waiting for them. We've never seen them before. They've never been released in that way. And now sometimes when we think about, again, other people who we think are more talented or more smart or more special than us, it's only because we're looking at such a limited view of what genius and or talent really looks like. So for example, let's say that I have this limiting belief that as long as I was growing up, I'm not smart. And so what does being smart really mean, right? So as long as I follow the society standard of what being smart means, it means probably doing well in school. Okay. Well, how do you do well in school? Now, if you're from the United States and the public school system, basically, at least when I was growing up, you did well in school based on how much you could memorize. Right? Our tests were designed to show us how much we could memorize, how many different dates and facts and ways of doing this we could memorize. And if we did really well with memorization, then we would probably do well in school and we would therefore be deemed as smart. Now, is it possible for someone to be ridiculously smart and intelligent without having a really good memorization for random facts? Are you willing to believe that? I am, right? Yes, right? And so if we limit ourselves to this definition that you are only smart if you therefore know how to memorize facts, we are going to exclude so many people's geniuses, so many people's different ways of thinking about the world. Now, oftentimes people who have struggles with memorizing things, which is a lot of people, or people who just think differently, who maybe have ADHD or even are on the spectrum, they see things differently and they perceive of the world differently. And it would be so rude, I would think. It would be so almost just not in our place to say that that isn't a version of smart if they're able to come up with things in a different way or be more innovative or more creative or see problems in a different light than we are, right? And so what the hell is really being smart mean? And so Albert Einstein actually argued really fervently that every single person is a genius. Every single person on this planet has genius. Every single person has a beautiful gift to share. Maybe nobody knows how to sew a beautiful quilt like you. Maybe nobody knows how to share your perspective on loss like you. Maybe nobody else knows how to write the words that you're meant to write. Every single one of us is so unique and has a gift to share. Again, nobody ever on this planet has had the exact same personality, experiences, skills, talents, passions, and interests as you. You are so unique. Your impression into this world is so singular and it's never been shared before. And we all have gifts, right? And again, sometimes we look at the more traditional gifts of, okay, am I intelligent? Well, that means I did well in school and that means I could memorize things. Or am I artistic? Well, that means that I'm a good drawer or painter, you know? And we have to kind of look outside the boundaries and the lens of what other people deem as being good or smart enough or, capable enough and really try to find our own unique gift and our own unique genius. Now, for example, let's just say that you have something that you want to do. Like maybe one day you'd love to write a book, but part of you is like, yeah, but that book's already been written before. Someone already wrote a book just like that or other books on that topic. So what could I possibly say on that? Well, I think that's such a incredibly dangerous thing to think because imagine if I believe that. Imagine if I believe that nobody needs to read Euphoric. This naked mind is already out there. The unexpected joy of being sober is already out there. Why would anyone care about the book Euphoric? And I just decided not to write it. Now, yes, a book about alcohol-free living has been written, right? It's not the only book on the topic, but I would argue that my book is very different and has a different vibe and a completely different energy than some of those other books. And it's completely different because it's my story. And everything will always be different from your story's perspective and your point of view than anyone else. Right? And so when we imagine some of our favorite things on the planet, when we imagine our favorite podcast, or we imagine our favorite book, or our favorite restaurant, or our favorite, thought leader or role model, or our favorite whatever it is, imagine if the creator of that just decided, you know what, there's already too many books out there. There's already podcasts out there. What could I possibly add to this conversation? And when I think about my role models and I think of the people who are seriously such big heroes in my life, the books who've changed my life, the podcasts that have changed my life, the thought leaders that have changed my life would be remiss without them, right? Like they have impacted me so much. I'm so grateful that they recognize that they do have a gift to share and they went out and shared their gift. So my question for you is, who out there on this planet is waiting for you to share your gift? Who out there on this planet needs you to share the gift that only you have to share. And it's so cool is that in this world today, when we look at what's possible today versus what was possible just 20 years ago, our whole world's changed, right? Like literally what I do for a living and the way that I engage online and the way that I'm able to connect with you was not possible 20 years ago. It didn't exist. When I was in college, graduating almost 15 or 16 years ago now, or whatever that was, this career was not possible. It wasn't even an option. It wasn't even a possibility, right? Can we think about that for a moment? How much the times have changed, so much more is possible today than ever used to be, ever before. And so, they actually have studied this and said that the jobs that will exist in 20 years, we've never even heard of before. Because the way that technology will evolve, the way that our consciousness will evolve, the way that just society evolves, the jobs that will exist in 20 years do not even exist today. We can't even think of them, right? And so we have to give ourselves this incredible moment of recognizing that's what's possible today is not what we grew up thinking was possible. It's not what we've been conditioned to believe is possible. We've been told that the safest thing we could do, that a stable job, that all these things are what we have to do. Put your head down, study hard, get a good job, retire when you're 65, right? We've been told all these things based on the possibilities of a previous generation, based on what was possible for our parents and our grandparents, not what's possible for us in 2023. Now think about it for a second. There are people making millions of dollars off of YouTube and TikTok. In fact, some of them are 18 years old, right? Like that was never possible a few years ago. 18-year-olds are making millions of dollars off of TikTok and YouTube. Now, I know that we can get to a point where we're like a little skeptical about that and being like, okay, I don't know what's coming to the world, that people can just do that these days. This is crazy. But in a way, if we take like a really objective view, isn't it kind of incredible that we have so much more autonomy and control over our careers than ever before, that an 18-year-old doesn't have to go through, so many unfulfilling jobs after unfulfilling jobs, enslaving away, that they have the power to take their creativity and their passion and put it on the internet and be rewarded for that? I mean, what a cool possibility, actually. And the thing is that it's not only the 18-year-old that has that option, it's all of us, right? In whatever form we want to. It doesn't have to just be on TikTok or YouTube. We all have so much more capability to succeed in our passions than was ever possible in human history. In fact, most of the generations before us, their sole objective was just to survive, was just to get enough food on the table. And so when we look at what's possible today, we need to remove some of the societal conditioning we've gotten from the past, and we need to look at it with fresh eyes. So I'm going to lead you through a series of questions where you can start asking yourself what you really want based on the idea that anything is possible. Because if we start with this idea of like, okay, well, let me actually be a little bit more realistic. Let me think about what is smart for me to do, what I could do. Let me think of like something like that. We're going to limit our view. We're not going to ask ourselves what we're truly passionate about doing. The whole purpose of this workshop, Ditch Alcohol and Discover Your Purpose, is to discover your inherent desires. Discover what your soul is really craving to do. Not what you think you should do, not what would make your parents proud, not what would look good on a resume, what you really want. And I'm going to argue that what your soul really, really wants is in fact the greater clue to not only how you are going to make much more abundance in your life, but also the clue onto how you're meant to serve the world. Because our desires are not random. Our desires were not just selfishly arrived at like, oh, yes, I would love more money and to be a coach, for example. No, they're not these selfish things that we just want and hope. And it's like, well, you should give that up and just be happy with what you have. Our desires are our secret to how we're supposed to serve the world. Think about it for a moment that you did not give yourself your desires. Think about for just a moment, imagine if the universe or God or the divine or whatever you believe in, your higher self, granted you your desires. So let me give an example because this can seem pretty esoteric sometimes when we're thinking about just the big concepts. So imagine for a moment that I get this desire to write a book. Now, I get this really strong desire to write a book. I want to obviously be able to claim some of it's a little bit of ego based, some of it's like the vanity of it, right? I want to be able to claim that I'm an author. I want to be able to see my book on a bookshelf. I want to be able to, be that version of myself that achieves that goal. But through those lifestyle goals, through those kind of career goals, my desire to write a book is actually a vehicle for me to serve the world. The universe gave me that desire. And through that desire, when I wrote the book and I grew the business that went along with the book, I was able to help thousands and thousands of women. And now, if the universe didn't give me the desire to write the book, I would argue that I would never have been able to help those people. I would argue that I would not even have what we're having right now. I wouldn't have this workshop. I wouldn't have this business. I wouldn't have any of it. It all rested back on the desire to write the book, the desire to have this. And what's so funny with this desire to write a book is that I actually didn't know I wanted to launch a business. I just thought to myself, well, I guess I'll launch a business because I think you need to in order to grow an audience to write a book. And so now actually I see as the business as my baby, as this incredible creative engine that I have every single day. And the book is just one part of it, right? But the universe kind of tricked me and was like, why don't you write a book? And in order to do that, you should also launch a business. And so in this way, our desires are always paving the way to our bigger purpose, right? Oftentimes, we have been socialized into thinking our desires are wrong, selfish, greedy, really egotistical based. And, for the most part, every woman that I encounter who has the foresight and the intuition to ditch alcohol is so heart-centered, is so incredibly caring, wants to help the world, wants to serve other people, wants to feel that dear fulfillment of making an impact into someone else's lives. So I would argue that it's almost impossible that your desires are selfish, right? However, let's take even something that maybe sounds a little bit more selfish in the sense that it might not have a direct impact into helping another person. Let's say that your desire is to quit your job and travel the world for a year, right? So that's your desire. And you're like, okay, Carolina, how is that actually going to help anyone? Like, that only sounds pretty selfish for me. Well, let me say this. If you were to actually do that, if you were to quit your job and go travel for a year, how many women would look up to you? How many women would be like, oh my God, Jane, I can't believe you did that. That's so inspiring. I want to do that too. Can you tell me how you did that? How many women would be so impressed by your boldness, by your fearlessness, by your courage, by your faith to do what you really wanted to do? I would argue that even something that's so-called a selfish desire is actually inspiring other people to give themselves permission to do what they want to do. Why is this important? The number one regret of people who die, and this has been studied in, lots of very academic circles, the number one regret of people who die is that they didn't go after their dreams. They stayed stuck in the shoulds, they stayed stuck in the safety nets, they just did what other people wanted or what they thought was, smarter, and they just didn't think that their dreams were worthy of it. And that is the number one regret of the dying. So this does matter. In fact, this matters probably more than anything. This is your life. This is your purpose. This is why you've been placed on planet Earth. And alcohol has come up for you as something to clear, as something to reevaluate, as something to transform for a bigger reason, because it's the gateway for you to step into this bigger purpose. And now I know you might not have all the answers now. This is a process. This takes time. This takes reflection. This takes questioning. This takes mentorship. And that's exactly what I do in my big program, Become Emboldened, to help women not only discover their purpose, but unleash it and start the big movement that they have to start. But let us now get clear on what your soul wants. Let us now get clear on some of the desires that are coming up for you. And I'm going to ask you a few questions that I would love for you to do in your workbook today on just getting clear what this soul wants. Now, each question is really a clue, is really a new way of thinking about something in order to derive at an answer that is a little bit more out of the box. So, for example, My first question for you, and let me just add that the more you participate in this workshop, the more you share your comments, the more you engage with the reflections afterwards in the Facebook group, the more you're going to be entered to win my favorite giveaways. First prize is a scholarship to become emboldened. Second prize is a pack of my favorite self-development books. And third prize is a pack of King Euphoric mocktails, all delivered to your doorstep. So let me ask you this. A lot of times when we think about what we could do on this world and or what our purpose is, we are so tied to money, right? We need money to survive. We need money to pay the bills. We need money to put our kids through school. We need money to do all of it. And so obviously money is very important in our society. We can't live without it, right? And so in our minds, we get so tied to what I could do that I think will provide me with a steady stream of money. And in that way, we sometimes limit what our true passions are. We limit what we really want. We limit trying something and actually being blown away at how much more abundance could be in the thing that actually makes you happy versus doing what we think we should do. So for a moment, let's take money off the table. Let's pretend that money is not an issue anymore. What if you won the lottery? What if you won the lottery? What if you won $50 million tomorrow, right? And even though you're set for life, literally, you could never need money ever again. You would probably love to travel. You'd probably love to take some time off and hang out on some beaches, right? But eventually, there comes a point where you want to have a life filled with meaning and legacy. And you want to contribute, and you want to do things, and you want to express your creativity in this world. So, what would you want to do? If money was no issue, if money was not part of the equation, what would you do? What would you spend your life doing? Would you spend your life writing? Would you spend your life teaching women? Would you spend your life being an artist? Would you spend your life running nonprofits? Would you spend your life being a thought leader? Would you spend your life doing what? What would make you feel so happy in order to do? What would just be a dream come true that you could do? Would you want to be Oprah's best friend? I mean, nothing's wrong here. Everything is a clue for you to just write down, right? And these clues that are coming for you will help you ascertain what your true kind of childlike passions are versus what we think we should do. Because thinking what we should do gets us into the same mindset of previous generations of what's possible, what's smart, and all these things. And let's just argue that for a moment that, you know, what was smart back in the 80s when we were mostly growing up, or a little earlier, a little later, is not what was smart today. You know, like the way that our parents got jobs and our grandparents and had this safe, you know, the same job literally until retirement it doesn't even exist today, right? There's no sense of security necessarily in the job market. You can get let go from the pandemic. You could get let go from overstaffing. Like, there's not that much security in a job the same way there used to be 40, 50, 60 years ago, right? So this idea that we should do something out of safety doesn't exist. And for me, I'd rather much bet on my own capability and my own passion and creativity and autonomy to figure things out than rely on someone else to do it for me. You know? And so sometimes, again, when we look at just what we should do, we are not allowing our true soul and intuition to come out. So let's take away the shoulds and again, ask ourselves, what do we really want? Oftentimes, too, we think that if we really did what we want, someone would be mad at us. You know, our husband wouldn't be happy with us. Our kids maybe wouldn't be happy. Our parents wouldn't be happy. Our sister would look at us with a weird, eye. Let's take them off the table. If no one was mad at you, if nothing you could do was wrong, what would you want? And so, as we dream of this lifestyle, let's also fill in the details. What would you do on a perfect morning? Your dream lifestyle, what does the morning look like? What time do you wake up? What do you do first thing? Do you have any help around the house? Are you writing? Are you doing a morning practice? What do you do on a perfect morning? Do you have time to go walk on the beach? What does a perfect morning look like to you? And once your morning is over and you're ready to settle into the workday, what does a perfect workday look like for you? What are you doing? Are you expressing your creativity? Are you working with women? Are you sharing your gifts? Are you sharing your passions? Are you creating arts that really light your soul up? What are you doing on a perfect workday? How are you expressing your genius? How are you expressing your creativity? How do you feel like your work matters? That's another thing is oftentimes we look for the outside world to validate us and we continue chasing these awards and these promotions. How can you feel like the work matters no matter what? How can you feel on a daily basis, whatever you're choosing to do in a perfect work day, how can you feel happy and fulfilled knowing what you're doing matters? What does your perfect evening look like? What is your evening routine? What time do you stop working? What do you do? How do you feed yourself? How do you move your body? How do you engage with your children if you have them? What do you do on a perfect evening? And again, even thinking about this question isn't even in the workbook today, but I love being able to paint the perfect day because it's going to have so many clues about what you really want more than anything. And so allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to really fill in the details of this dream idyllic lifestyle. And if you can, have faith with me that the things your soul is pointing you towards, the thing your soul is lighting you up about, the things that you feel passionate about, they're not random. They are not random. They are here for you for a reason. They're your bigger clues on what you really want. And what you really want is going to serve the world in a way that you can't even imagine right now. Right? Now, if you've already been achieving some of your dreams and if you've already been, really working on a path to figure out what you want for a long time now, this question still applies. What's next? We always evolve. We always have a next chapter. We always have that next level. What would be the next iteration of this incredible dream? I remember having this desire to write a book for so long. The universe gave me that ever since I was 4 years old. I'd always wanted to write a book. And through that desire, this entire euphoric brand company movement has been started. And I know that even though I'm just on my corner of the world and my corner of the internet and my kind of corner of the bookshelf space in the bookstore, I know that it's making a difference. I know that it fulfills me. I know that I love my work and feel so creative and that I feel like I make an impact. I feel like my life has meaning and it gives me the autonomy to live a life style that I also love. I just got back from 3 weeks in Asia. I was able to host a retreat with some incredible dear women. I was traveling around in Japan before that and Australia and hanging out in Bali before the retreat. And that used to be the biggest pipe dream to me when I was stuck in my cubicle, jealously wishing I could travel more. And so maybe sometimes we can always ask ourselves, who are we jealous of? Whose life makes us feel envious? And it's, I believe it's Martha Beck or Julia Cameron. I have to look it up real quick. But there's an incredibly brilliant thought leader woman author who has an amazing quote that our jealousies, the things that we are envious in other people's lives, are the things that our soul also wants, but doesn't yet maybe have the bravery to go after it. And so instead of feeling inspired and incredibly uplifted by seeing their examples, we might feel jealous because we don't have what they have yet. And so jealousy is actually an incredible tool to use to pinpoint what your deeper desires are, what your soul wants. So maybe there's author you might be jealous of. Maybe there's a woman from your high school who's like a public speaker now, and you see her posts all the time about her speaking on stages in high schools and colleges, and you're like, damn, I'm jealous, right? Who are you jealous of? Are you jealous of people who write? Are you jealous of people who travel? Are you jealous of people who have businesses? Are you jealous of people who work with other people, who help the world? What are you jealous of? And again, I think that when I was able to pinpoint this question, I remember so deeply being jealous of other online coaches. Back when I was still working in my cubicle, I saw people who, for a living helped other people intimately. For a living, were able to travel whenever they wanted to, were able to make an impact, were able to share their ideas and their advice that they had gone through with other people. And the thing is that we all have that wisdom to share. We all have a gift. We all have certain experiences. We all have something. And there's always a woman behind us who needs it. There is always that past version of you that would have died to be able to talk to you today, to be able to get your advice and your wisdom and your empowerment and your encouragement. Imagine just for a moment that you could talk to the 20-year-old version of yourself, right? Imagine that you're teleported back in time and here you are talking to the 20-year-old version of yourself. Now, my 20-year-old version of myself was a dumbass, and I say that in the most loving, endearing way because she was so wrapped up in what other people thought of her, what society was expecting from her. She was getting so lost in just toxic situations and having no self-worth. And so she didn't make some great decisions, but I love her so dearly for that. I love her so much for the woman that she grew into. And if I could talk to that 20-year-old version of myself, oh my God, I would have so much advice to give. I would not only have advice on what she could do or how she could go through life a little differently, but I would also really just encourage her. I would love her. I would shower her with empowerment and motivation. And I'm sure you would do the same if you had a chance to talk to the 20-year-old version of yourself. Now, here's the thing. The 20-year-old version of yourself does exist out there in the world. And I'm not saying, obviously, you have to go work with the 20-year-old version of yourself, but there is always, always, always a woman that's just a few steps behind you. Always, no matter what you're going through in life. Let's say that you went through a really messy divorce and it was so heartbreaking and just so hard on the kids and so complicated. And you've now just 5 years over the fact have really regained your boundaries and you have really solid co-parenting now. And you have just gone through hell and back, but you've really, really, really figured it out, right? Wouldn't a woman who's just at the very beginning of that divorce be so enthralled to talk to you, so enthralled to get your advice and your wisdom? That's what I mean when I say that every single person has a gift to share. Every single one of us has a gift to share. Every single one of us has incredible mentorship that we can offer to the version behind us. And we can offer it in so many different ways. We can offer it through writing. We can offer it through speaking. We can offer it through mentorship. We can offer it informally in our lives as well. And we can also offer it by just being a living example and a breathing example of living a kind of life we want to live. We can make people happy through art or through music. We can make people get inspired based on us doing the things we really want. The thing is when it comes to our purpose, it's going to be unique. There's going to be some of us that want to write a book. There's going to be some of us that want to launch a business or become a coach. There's going to be some of us that want to travel. There's going to be some of us that want to, get to the C-suite of their company. It's all so different based on who you are and what your value system is. So allow yourself to just be as open-minded as possible today. And use the questions in the workbook. Some of them I went through just now, some of them are new. I want you to use the questions in the workbook with a really open mind and allow yourself to just stream of consciousness write down, what do you really want? If money wasn't an issue, what would you want? If you won the lottery, what would you want? If nothing were wrong, what would you want? Keep asking yourself. And if you have no idea, ask yourself before you go to bed every night. And then when you wake up in the morning, journal. And just free write journal for a little bit. What do I want? What do I want? And now again, I just want to recognize that no matter what we've already built in our lives, we can congratulate ourselves for that, right? No matter what, we've all accomplished so much in our lives. But now that we've removed the thing that no longer serves us, now that we've made space in our lives by taking out the thing that robbed our self-esteem and our self-worth and our energy, and now that we can reverse all those things now and have more self-love and have more presence and have more integrity and have more pride and have more confidence and have more courage, and oh my God, I could go on and on and on and on about all the gifts you get when you go alcohol-free. Now we have a new perspective. Now we have a new roadmap to decide what the future looks like, right? And maybe everything we were doing in the past is still something we can congratulate ourselves for. But let's just reevaluate where we're going for a moment. Let's just take all of this heightened wisdom and creativity and intuition and inspiration we get from reevaluating alcohol and really allow ourselves to reevaluate the future. Because before, when I was still in a relationship with alcohol, my biggest sights were teeny. My biggest sights were doing something to make other people feel like they could be proud of me, doing well on my resume, getting a promotion at my job. I would have never dreamed of leaving that job, writing a book, launching a business, all of that. I didn't even believe it was possible. I didn't believe that it was in the realm of things I could do. I thought other people could do stuff like that, right? But not me. And when I ditched alcohol, that's when I was able to really look at the future and really say, why not? I'm never going to know unless I try. I'm never going to know what I could do unless I try. And if the number one regret of the dying is not going after their dreams, please promise me that you will not get to that point. Please promise me that you will not get to the age of 95, right? Fingers crossed we all live till 95. And you will regret the things you didn't do. What are the things you want to do? Life is so short. We only get this one, as far as I know, as far as we can prove. What are you going to regret not doing? What are you going to regret not taking a chance on? What are you going to regret not making a lifestyle of yours? Why not you? Why not now? The universe has literally orchestrated things on your benefit, on your behalf, to get you to this point of reevaluating the role of alcohol in your life. This is the biggest opportunity you have to create any future moving forward. So Jeanette, thank you for promising. Thank you, Becky. Oh my gosh, I love all the comments. You guys are so incredible to just recognize you've been given all of these gifts by reevaluating the role of alcohol in your life. You have an incredible gift to share that is unique to you as well. The world will be a better place when you share that gift. And you do not want to get to the end of your days regretting that you never did that. So it's okay that your answer might not come right now. Allow yourself to journal through different journaling prompts in the workbook. I promise you these are all clues that are coming up for you and that there's more introspection for you to do. And if you already know, if you're like, yep, Carolina, I want to write a book, right? Don't let go of that. Take the baby steps necessary. Find a container where you can work on your goal and get the mentorship and support. Find the road there. Do not let it just be something that's a someday goal. You know, I talk a lot in my program, Become Euphoric, about someday goals as these things that, oh, maybe one day, wishful, hoping, thinking are over here on the back burner. It would be nice if that happened, but, you know, I'm not actually working on it today. Don't allow those things to be someday goals. Allow yourself to express your creativity and find fulfillment in your everyday by working on the things that you're more passionate about than anything else. Allow that to carry your fulfillment for the day. So I hope today's session was helpful. I hope that the prompts are going to help you get some clues. Now, it's possible that the answers might not be like exactly what you want, but they're clues. They're helping show you where to go, what to lean on, what you want. And a lot of times, again, we think about what's possible versus what we want. So it doesn't matter if you've never seen anyone do it before. It doesn't matter if you don't know if it's feasible or if you can make money off of it. That is not the concern right now, right? I just want you to be so honest with yourself. What do you want? And just trust that what you want wants you back, and that you want it, and that this is all happening for you for a bigger reason. Thank you so much for joining today. Again, the more you comment, the more you share your homework back into the Facebook, the more we see from you, the more you're going to get entries to win the 3 giveaways for this week. I'm super, super excited for them. And if you guys want any support in achieving your goals, we're going to announce and let you know how we could work together for the next 4 months and Become Emboldened, which is my advanced program to help women achieve their greatest dreams. And the testimonials and the things that happened last time in that program and the time before and the time before, oh, they bring me tears, seriously. Because when women go after what they want, they change the world. They save the world. And remember what I said yesterday? We are literally the force that is going to change the world. Alcohol-free women will change the world. So thank you so much for your beautiful intuition, your beautiful insights. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to come back and take all of these new beliefs and dreams, and we're going to debunk all the beliefs that are telling us that we can't have them and all the limiting stories that say we can't have them. Because I know often when you dream a big dream, there's another voice that says, Carolina, are you crazy? You know, and we are going to tackle that voice tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Wishing you all so much love and joy, and I'll see you tomorrow.